Good afternoon. It's great to be in your company. This is The Week Ahead on SABC News. As we always do at this time, we bring through our specialist desk, senior reporters and editors to open up their diaries for you and let you in and give you a head start, really, in terms of where the story will go in the next few days. So let's get it started. Katlego Legodi, SABC News Economics Reporter, coming through, the first in a line that will be parading through in the next few minutes. Let's start with trade matters. Tell me about China and the United States and their meeting. They're meeting where? In Switzerland. That's interesting.
Yeah. Good afternoon to Lasizwe and, of course, to our viewers at home. This weekend, a very important weekend when you look at the global trading economics. And this is where then in the week to this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we saw a lot of economists, a lot of traders just looking into what could be of these talks that would be between the United States and China. You know very well that these are two global and major powerhouses where the economy is concerned. They've been at war, this tariff war that started when we saw Donald Trump just imposing and going on this just blitz around tariffs. So we see the tussle between China and the United States leading to them and meeting in Switzerland this weekend. So we saw over the weekend a glimpse of this meeting from what Donald Trump tweeted, or he posted on his truth post, saying that there is progress that has been made here between China and the United States in terms of finding each other. You know very well that there have been these tariffs. I think they're at 145%. Just slapped at China by the United States. We see China also retaliating with 125% of these tariffs. So we saw at least the United Kingdom and the United States in the previous week just coming together and doing away or coming to an agreement or a deal of some sort. So this time around, we're looking at China and the United States, where there would be as we go into the week, and how then we see these two economies really handling this tariff war that have been affecting major of other economies, including us here at home.
Yeah, because a trade war between the United States and China, two of the world's biggest economies, is no good for anyone. So at least some dialogue is taking place at a neutral venue, Switzerland. Related to that, in a way, Katlego, we've been watching the rand's performance for over the last few months. What's the latest we can report on that, and how do we account for it?
The rand is sensitive. I mean, it's been sensitive since we saw these announcements around the tariffs and issues that would affect sentiment because of a lot of investors, the bond markets, and those that will be watching developments where this is concerned. So we see it just wrapping the week up just on a positive this time around compared to where we were the last time when I was here. So we see it hovering at around 18 rand 20 cents to at least the dollar, which is where we see most people saying that it is on a positive. When you look at what has been happening there at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, a lot of people saying that a lot of companies will be battered, will be looking at the uncertainties coming from various of these economies and how then they move into some of these spaces. You know very well that we are in an economy that is export reliant. So a lot of these companies will be looking at where we find ourselves and how then the rand would fare here. But it's going into the week on a positive note, hovering at around 18 rand 20 cents. And we're looking at then what would happen in the coming week as we see this meeting between the United States and China.
That's quite strong compared to, did it almost touch 20 or did it touch 20?
At some point it went to 19. It was at 19 almost, and a lot of people were just worried about what that would mean because you know very well that the exchange would affect those that would be trading and the likes. And a lot of people really watching the board to say, how do we see the rand doing as we see all of these global issues just playing themselves out, even here at home. You know very well that there are issues of the budget, this looming budget 3.0. A lot of people just looking at how then a lot of sentiments would affect what is happening there on the boards and the companies that would be trading, looking at how then the rand would fare where these issues are concerned.
So on that note, you mentioned the budget. Let's go to economic governance and policy of the country. President Ramaphosa launching the next phase of Operation Vulindlela. So is it Vulindlela 2.0 while we wait for Budget 3.0?
Yeah.
How will that work?
It's actually a really funny story because a lot of people have been looking at this 2.0s, 3.0s.
Yes.
People just want to see a country that works. Of the admission of President Cyril Ramaphosa, he was just talking about a generation here in the country that has never experienced a country that is on a growth trajectory, saying that really especially since we see a lot of these issues playing themselves out, there is a need to come through with the reforms. And this is where we see Operation Vulindlela coming through here. It's been lauded even from the previous year as having come through for the economy. This is where we see various of these role players coming together, led by the National Treasury and the Presidency, in ensuring that there is a move where the economy is concerned. We have our own projections in terms of economic growth in the country, but we see the IMF as well coming through to revise the global economic growth forecasts. So it's back to the drawing board for us here at home, but everybody else looking at how then is this 2.0 going to be different from the 1.0 where Operation Vulindlela is concerned. We see the focus this time around being on municipalities, the focus being on the basics in terms of the delivery of services. But a lot of people saying, do we see all of these issues that are coming out from the 2.0 Vulindlela being accommodated in the budget, which is why a lot of people are saying that it was somewhat strategic as well to see some of these issues playing themselves out in terms of just leading us into this budget 3.0 that we are waiting on the 21st of May. But the million-dollar question is the timelines. A lot of people looking at the timelines. A lot of people looking at how we're going to fund this and whether this will be accommodated in this upcoming budget.
So speaking of that then, we have a nice discussion set up for a bit later on about Operation Vulindlela, the next phase, and that's coming up a bit later on in the show. But you're watching quite a number of reports that are coming out. Tell me about Stats SA and the unemployment data, mining production, as well as International Nurses Day and SAP releasing this AI skills readiness report.
It's a jam-packed diary for us here at home, but we often just closely watch developments where data is concerned, which is where you'll see us focusing on a lot coming out of Stats SA. We'll see them on Tuesday releasing the quarterly labor force survey. This would give us a sense of where we are right now in terms of the numbers. Where we are from the previous quarter, we're sitting at 31.9% of those people that are unemployed, including young people that are bearing the brunt of this. So a lot of people just looking at how then this time around the numbers would fare. We're expecting the Statistician General to take us into confidence in terms of some of those companies and how they've been faring. You know very well that they'll look at the production side, they'll look at the sales side, they'll look at how various of these sectors of the economy are coming through in employing people. And we'll be closely looking at that as the SABC Economics Desk. We'll also be looking at Stats SA in terms of the mining production numbers. You know very well that mining is very, really pivotal in terms of the country's GDP. And a lot of people are expecting to see how then we would fare where that is concerned. This time around, we'll be looking at data coming through from March. The last one we had was in February, and it was not looking good. I mean, the numbers are declining, and a lot of people saying that looking at all of these developments playing themselves out in terms of the tariffs and the global instability, how are we affected here? As I said, we are an export-based economy, and a lot of people will be looking at how then the mining sector has been faring in navigating some of these shocks. We look at the International Women's Nurses Day, which is tomorrow. Moving from Mother's Day today to International Women's Day. So we'll see that playing out in terms of our labor diary, but a lot really expected here. In terms of that SAP as well, looking at AI and where we are right now as a country, how we're faring in terms of ensuring that we are not left behind, we get the best out of this AI space as well.
Thank you, Katlego. Thank you for that, opening up his diary and the Economics Desk's diary. That's Katlego Legodi, SABC News Economics Reporter.